Sleepers Podcast, Friday, June 6th. We are pleased to be joined by the man behind the moment, Riley Davis. Riley Friday. It's just you and I today. No Cart. I believe he is golfing right this very moment. So sorry to the person who demanded in our comments that we keep the three people Riley Friday episodes going. Not this week. Hopefully next week. Riley, how are you today?
I'm doing well, and I believe that was our guy Burner. I just want him to feel seen, to feel heard. Your gripe has been submitted to Sleepers HR. It has just for the moment been denied, but who's to say we won't revisit it at some point? So we see you, we hear you, we love you.
On the bright side, we don't have Cart here, but we have the next best thing. We have Riley Davis doing an impression of Carter Elliott.
Gee, what are you talking about? No, my guy is special with the Blackstone. Can't wait to take Leon and Queen Meg there this weekend.
That is what's happening. I get to see the real card tonight. I can't wait. It should be fun. On that note, was speaking of not getting all of us when you want more content from us, we're taking tomorrow off. Basically, there will be a Monday episode of this show ready for you, so don't worry about that. But if you're waiting around on your lunch hour looking for shorts tomorrow, not going to be there. You'll have to jump into the BR app to find more from us on Friday at 12:30. But we're going to take a little weekend with the families. Cartel bringing Leon and Meg 3 nights at the Waddell residence. Should be a fun time. Riley, do you want to pull up? You could bring Nat. You could bring Theo.
That would be my dream. I would love nothing more because I know let me just tell you the FOMO hits differently when I see both of y'all flicking up on the gram, getting fits off. Yeah. Do you I feel a little cringy saying that, but I went with it anyway. Do you have your fit for the weekend picked out already?
Got a couple different options for you. I do. There probably will be at least one flick that gets off this weekend. We also are getting actual professional photos of our family taken Friday morning, which is comedically perfectly timed because it almost guarantees that I get Carter in a picture with me. I'm also hoping to do a bit where we just, without them noticing, start taking family photos with Leon, with me and Mal instead of Banks, and we act like Leon is our son in professional themed photos.
Okay, speaking of photos, fits, and the like, I have a pseudo philosophical question for you.
Oh no. Okay.
Is it possible to be a style and or lifestyle, well, let's say lifestyle and fashion influencer without being vain?
Yes, I think it is.
Care to extrapolate?
Um, this is so dumb, but I feel like it's the first thing that came to mind for me. There is some random influencer that I just followed like in the last week because I saw a post that made me laugh out loud. And all she does is post like one photo a day, and she's just like a very good-looking woman. But it starts out every time being like what I would wear on a date, and it's like formal, like just her in a cute dress, and then it immediately pivots to like deployment, and she's dressed up as an army soldier, or like the 2004 NBA draft, and she's wearing a suit that's way too big for her. It's all comedy, but she's technically an influencer, and I
Okay.
don't think it's vain at all.
I like that. I like that angle a lot. This is something my wife and I were discussing because we've had former, let's say, acquaintances, friends try to go that route and not really find their niche. And I think it kind of comes across as vain and a little like self-centered. But we also know like the Robinson brothers, Drew and Ace, like never come across as vain at all to me. And I know Drew has like dipped his toes into like the fashion waters and everything. And he's a pretty down to earth dude, especially considering some of his basketball accomplishments. But yeah, just had me thinking, is there a way to do this? I like when you can incorporate like comedy or personality into it as opposed to just like trying really hard to put up some type of front or an image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. There are that was philosophical. I like where we're headed with this. There are I feel like there are friends, at least in our lives, Mel and I's lives, where like you know you have a good looking friend who knows they're good looking, and they just do fall into the vanity. They almost like
Hmm.
they do things that they know are going to have eyeballs in them and kind of present it as if they're not doing that. I feel like there's two paths if you're just that level of good looking. You can either go all in and basically outwardly be like, yeah, I am vain. Because then that if you acknowledge it, it makes it better. Like,
It's
yeah,
true.
this is what I am hot and this is what I do. It's okay. Or you can just sort of like stay off the limelight. That's the coolest way to do it. Just be
Hmm.
hot, but act like you don't know you're hot. That's solid.
Just zero. It's like you. It's either 0 or 100 with the social media presence.
Yeah,
For sure.
just
Yeah,
don't be the
yeah.
guy that's like really hot and like acts like you aren't aware of it. Like you can be aware of it, but be very humble. You know,
See,
that's my
this
friend Evan Meyer.
this goes back to the gripe I shared like a year ago of people who like can sing and know they can sing, but try to casually just start like singing along to something and doing it quietly as opposed to just being like, no, if you could like gee, you can sing. That's why when we do musical performances, if I need a falsetto, I give you a heads up. That's like, yo, gee, I'm gonna need a falsetto here, and there's a reason why you do it like confidently and on camera. That's different from like, oh, I'm just kind of like Carter's playing touch tunes. Silly face, like, oh, let's see if I can sing along to Lady Gaga's part in "Shallow." Like there's such a difference between that and just straight up just seizing it.
Yeah. Oh, silly me. I can sing. Had no idea. One of those. Coincidentally, my hottest friend, who I just named by name, Evan Meyer. He's just such an attractive man. Always has been. He's also just naturally good at everything. That's been the annoying but also fun part. Like great golf swing, great baseball swing, great baseball player. Can sing, voice of an angel, basically anything you could just randomly like pick up. Like we played hacky sack one time and he was just awesome at it out of nowhere. But he's like as humble as they come. Like he'll just flat out, he's not doing it to pretend it. He's like, dude, like I really don't think I'm that good of a singer. And he genuinely believes that. And we're like begging him to sing the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a hot friend? Like who's your hottest friend, Riley?
Sims McElfresh. Who else would it be?
Is it Sims? Yeah.
Sims is a good looking dude and also had the good at everything card going for him, mainly in the athletic realm. Like dude was a bucket, really good football player, obviously. And just like anything that required athletic ability, he was usually pretty good at.
Yeah, that's fun. I spent years telling Evan Meyer that if he would just allow me to do it for him, I could make him famous within a year. Like just I'll tell you like once a week I need a 30-second clip of you singing where you've just like taken a shower and let me rock with it and I'll market you to stardom.
I am afraid of the alternate reality where you're an agent. Like the gif of Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, that this is how I win, where he has like the shades on. Like those are the type of shades agent you would be in, and you probably actually conduct yourself very similar to Adam Sandler in that movie.
Yeah, I could see that. I think
Scary reality.
I do think they're like as far as successful paths for my life could have gone or could still go, I think I would be an elite, like really close friend of someone who has this awesome professional talent. Like if I had a best friend who was just an NBA player or a star singer and I could find ways to like help them handle logistic things and market it, I think I'd be great at that. The problem
Hmm.
is when I've tried to do that with myself and with sleepers, and I'm just individually not talented enough. Really, this is kind of a miniature version. I've taken Cart and made a career out of Cart being an entertaining human being, but unfortunately for me, Cart's just not Joe Rogan or Amir Williams.
Why Amir Williams?
That's Cart's comparison. He always says he went to
Ah,
high school with him, and Amir was the more
okay, okay.
successful than him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's kind of like the medium outcome in between the two. He did pretty well for himself.
There's nothing medium about Cart, let's be honest. Here we are. We've made it. All right. Should we move on? You want to do a YouTube comment real quick? I got one.
Yeah. You got a YouTube comment?
If do you have one? If you do, you get extra credit.
I don't, but I was kind of wanting to pull out a da, 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 da in honor of Carter. But if you got one, let it fly.
Why don't you hit the da 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 and then I'll give you the comment.
Da, 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 carry the two. Da, 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 some more. Yeah, what's the comment?
The comment today comes from William Cash, who says the irony of Greg picking Benham Rickhouse after spending all of last season ridiculing him and trashing his ability, but it is in character. This was on yesterday's segment where we said we're picking one player who will exceed expectations on all of these teams around the country on an individual level. Uh, yeah, hey, I don't think I really have to defend this. Benham Rickhouse was the most disappointing individual player on Illinois last season. You guys told me he was an NBA prospect, started him over an actual NBA prospect all year, and the biggest moment of his season was when he preached at a church about being disappointing. So I think that it has now swung a little too far for me, is all I'm saying. Do I believe Ben Rickhouse is the player you once promised? Absolutely not. But do I think in a new role where he's not asked to start over Will Riley at the four and is instead asked to be the eighth guy on a team coming off the bench, can he have a bounce back season? Absolutely, I believe that. And I think that's a fair take, don't you think, Riley?
I do, and I'm always gonna be on your side when it's pushing back at someone saying the irony of dot dot dot. I people love hitting you with that in the comments.
It happens
I got called a
sometimes.
scumbag in our Vidal and Lubin video for the record. Like, what are these people on?
Yeah, hey, it's okay. It happens. It's okay. Also, I want to read a happy one just to offset that one. We've got Raekwon Armstrong who says this is the best intro beat of any podcast. Appreciate that. I also enjoy our instrumentals.
I love it, man. Sometimes you just got to sometimes you just got to restart the podcast when you're in the car when the bass comes through. My son dances to the beat for the record.
Or if you listen to Thursday's episode of this podcast, you don't have to restart it because the whole episode just restarted 25 minutes in. Did you figure that out yet?
I have not listened to Thursday's episode yet. I will
So,
be.
spoiler alert. Once again, behind the curtains peak this week. Producer JK is out on his seventh vacation of the off season. He's on a cruise, and we had him the last couple. He just missed a day for like a wedding or something, but this was the big one. He's missing like 3 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into next week.
It's
And
okay.
so
You can exaggerate and say 5 days.
yeah, basically a week. And so we told them, like, okay, you need to find a backup. And we mutually agreed a Discord member of ours, friend of the program, friend in real life of mine, Jay Hart, is going to be Jacob's backup. Jay Hart wants to get into the industry, learn some skills like this. He's done some sports writing that he's very good at and helped us with socials, but learning the producing stuff is good for anybody. I know that from trying to get in the industry. So we're giving Jay Hart a shot. He's done a couple days of shorts. He's done a great job with those in the past. He even practiced a full episode, did a great job. Yesterday we had a great numbers day, by the way. He did a great job with shorts. The only problem, Jay Hart's full episode just randomly in the middle of the first 25 minutes just restarts from the jump and plays the first 25 minutes all over again. Um, I will say, as someone who has produced this, that's a very difficult mistake to make. Like that's not just like accidentally like we moved something the wrong. It's like you almost have to like go out of your way to cut it that way in order for it to happen. So I'm dying to know how Jay Hart did this. He said he looked into it. Actually, his exact words this morning were, "I'll look into it in about 2 hours when I get home from my dentist appointment." So to summarize, while I'm getting a text from Jay Hart about his dentist appointment while the episode's messed up, Jacob, who told us he's on a cruise and couldn't work Wednesday, texted me Thursday morning and said, about to get on the boat in an hour. How'd everything go? So he needed Wednesday off, even though he's not even on the cruise yet. And Jacob's preferred backup scheduled a dentist appointment the day that Jacob actually goes on the cruise and then botched the entire full episode.
JK needed a day to pack. You want to talk about like fashion influencing? Those fits don't pack themselves.
So Cart and I were, by the way, this is all said with love. Jacob, I'll die for him. I'll take a bullet for him. And Jay Hart, you're my guy. You know that I destroy you on the golf course every time, but you're my guy through and through. They're both very special individuals. What we underestimated here is that we had Jacob train Jay Hart, and Jacob created a new Jacob. We didn't think that would happen, but now here we are. So, Jay Hart, I might have to have another lunch meeting with you and just try and steer you off the Karabatsos path. Respectfully to Jacob, who's perfect for us, we want you to be a little more, a little outside of that exact path, you know?
Yeah, the Carapath, so to speak.
Exactly, right? Uh, Producing's hard though, man. This is why I don't like doing it. Producing's hard. So, any producers out there that want to chip in someday, let us know. Let's get to the Discord. Join the Discord. It's 9.99 a month. You can interact with people like Jay Hart and Riley and myself and Carter about once a month when he decides it's worth his time to be in there. We start today. I gotta scroll up. I think we got some good comments today. We start today with did we? I think we did that one yesterday. All Hail the Pope says Kentucky scrimmage is 7-on-7. Who wins? Lowe, Chandler, Jasper, Yelovich, Garrison, Moreno, Hawthorne versus Aberdeen, Owe, Cam Williams, Mo Diabate, JQ, Noah, and Potter.
The team with Ortega.
Yeah, I think the team with Otega too. We already did top three movies of all time. I think I just read one that Carter skipped, of course. T Staffy says, "Hey guys, congrats on 25,000 subscribers. What are your goals for sleepers that you would like to accomplish by this time next year?" It's a good question, Riley. Do you have any sleepers goals by this time next year?
Plaque that is divided 5 ways. I need that plaque, or maybe we could just finagle a way to YouTube to send us 5 plaques when we hit 100K. Um, let's see, goals. I want to get more players and coaches on. Mainly players. I think players tend to be, I don't know. Well, some coaches are pretty fun interviews too, but I'm just even thinking about like how fun the draft of Palooza was last year with getting some players. I know we have some lined up for this year, but I think that's a whole G knows behind the curtains. Like I've been trying to work on that for the past few months unsuccessfully, but hopefully this time next year we'll be there. I just think that's like a market slash audience we haven't fully been able to tap into yet that I hope to be there.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Big goal for me that is specific to this upcoming year. I want to have a show live in person at the Final Four. I think that's doable in Indianapolis. It's certainly doable for us in Detroit, and those are the next two upcoming ones. So I miss, this Final Four was fun. It was great to be there. It's always great to be there. It's a luxury and a blessing that we get to do things like that and have credentials. But man, when we went to work, the Bleacher Report event, it just had a whole different feel to it for us, where we felt so official and important. And I miss that feeling. I want to get back at that, and I think we can do it ourselves. So, good question, T. Steffi. Appreciate that. Sleeve Nash is back and says, "I think putting Purdue over Houston, just trying to get too cute with the rankings. Both teams returned almost everyone, but Houston beat Purdue last year. Honestly, it felt like they controlled that game. Losing Juwan Roberts hurts, but Chris Sinak's ceiling is way higher. We've seen what Kelvin Sampson does with bigs. I think Uzan is due for a leap. He was putting up 20 a night late in the season. Braden Smith has a high floor, maybe even All-American level, but Uzan's upside is different. If they played 10 times this season, I think Houston wins 6 or 7. What do y'all think?"
I I honestly think it's probably like 4-3. I think these teams are really close still. I hear the case for Purdue is number one. I think it's predicated on like Omer Mayer being who he's advertised as, and Clough like not needing any time at all really to translate. With Houston, I love Uzan. I am like a Chris Sinak guy through and through. He's one of my favorite freshmen. I love this front court. And I'm even a believer in Isaiah Harwell, but as right now, like Harwell is slotted into to start at the three. That scares me like a little tiny bit to have Harwell and Sinak like 2 day 1 starters, just because we haven't seen Sampson like lean too heavily on freshmen before.
I agree with 95% of Sleeves post. I have Houston 1 ahead of Purdue right now. The only thing I disagree with from him is saying that Uzan's upside is different than Braden
Yeah,
Smith.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think Braden has National Player of the Year upside too. But yeah, I think Houston's better. I also think just Kelvin Sampson deserves the benefit of the doubt with this. This is arguably his most talented roster he's had. He's finished top 2 in KenPom 5 straight seasons. Like they are that good. They haven't won the
Mhm.
national title for us to stamp it, but they have been that good that long. We have seen Matt Painter teams with these exact players finish lower than they're supposed to. right? That just happened last season. We've never seen a Kelvin Sampson team in the regular season over 30 games underachieve greatly. And I think that alone is enough. If you think these rosters are similar, give Houston the nod as the number one team. Bryce Star Jones says, what new mid-major up transfer in the Big Ten next year do you have the most questions about it translating? Why don't we extend this out beyond the Big Ten in case there's anybody else you want to do? But mid-major up transfer that you have questions about how it works.
Pick your favorite out of Melvin Council and Jaden Dawson in the Big 12 if you want to go outside of the Big 10. Big 10 specifically, Tate Connerway. I like Tate Connerway, but I'm really fearful. I think Indiana's a fringe top 25 team, but that is contingent on Connerway being like good almost out the gates.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Indiana mid majors is a fair answer. I'll go just a different route. I've been on record being skeptical of this guy. I think Michigan State brought in Trey Fort to be Jace Richardson. I don't think they got him a lot of help around that. They're going to ask him to be a star shooting guard. And I think there is a humongous history of Samford stars that leave Samford and just can't play the role they're asked to
Yes.
do. So that's my answer. T. Staffy says, now that non-conference schedules are coming together, which non-con games are you looking forward to the most? I got that UConn Kansas game on my mind.
Um, I man, I'm trying to think of like the big non-con games we've heard so far.
Illinois has a bunch that we're about to speak to in a different comment in a second. Illinois, Texas Tech's the new one.
Mm, like, is Duke playing any good ones? Duke plays Kansas and the Garden. That's not really doing much for me. They play Duke and Texas Tech play December 20th. That should be good.
That's a good game. Yeah. Speaking of the Illinois lines, way too early sleeve lines from the one and only Sleeve Nash. Illinois minus 2.5 against Alabama in Chicago. What side are you on? I'll take Illinois minus 2.5.
In Chicago, yeah, I'll take Illinois minus 2.5 as well.
Tennessee minus 3.5 against Illinois in Nashville. I'll take Tennessee minus 3.5.
We'll also take Tennessee minus 3.5.
Illinois minus 6.5 against Missouri in St. Louis. I'll take. Didn't that game come down to one possession last year?
Yeah, give me Mizzou to cover that one, but Illinois wins.
I'll take Mizzou to cover two just because I feel like that rivalry is weird. UConn minus 6.5 against Illinois in Madison Square Garden. Oof.
Illinois covers, but UConn wins.
You know, I think the Duke game is lingering for me. I'm afraid of Brad Underwood in the high profile top three team in the country game. I'm going to take UConn in a blowout. And then Texas Tech minus zero point 0.5, basically pick them against Illinois in Champaign. We speculated this in a short yesterday. I'll take Illinois if you give me plus money on them at home.
I'm also thinking Illinois wins that one.
Sharp line sleeve. Good job. I like that. War Chant says, who are you buying and who are you selling? We've got Big Ten football odds to make the college football playoff. Ohio State, the favorite, minus 325. Oregon, minus 290. Penn State, minus 230. Michigan, plus 194. USC, plus 590. Illinois, plus 630. Indiana, plus 650. Everybody else is off the board. Do you want me to take this one?
I mean, like the obvious one, I feel like Ohio State and Oregon are the obvious ones to where I'm like, I don't know how much insight I'm really going to give you on that one. I'll throw a little stock into my Heisman hopeful quarterback, Luke Altmaier. How's that for you?
Yeah, plus 630 is the play. You got to back Illinois and or Indiana. Just hope Signetti does it again. Those are the two fun ones at 6-1. Out of the three, you need to sell Ohio State, Oregon, or Penn State. I will sell Oregon. Just I have more
Not a
questions.
Dante Moore guy?
Ah, I didn't love Dante Moore being content to be a backup last year. I didn't love that. I think I don't know. Penn State gets their quarterback back. Ohio State has so much talent everywhere. Oregon is the one that I think I'm a little more skeptical of, but they're all going to be great. I Maynard says in the old college hoops 2K8 dynasty mode, when you missed on all the top rated recruits you were targeting, you could just get a decent international player as a backup plan. It's so funny to see that happening in the real world now. I used to make a killing off of that move. Did you ever play that game?
Never really got into it.
Are you a video gamer at all?
I went through a phase like in high school, but I was very much like almost exclusively the NCAA football game.
Really?
That
Yeah.
was I spent on my team. I dabbled into 2K. I have College Hoops 2K8 that I break out from time to time, but I got that when I was older. Just like found it at a thrift shop. Yeah.
Fun move. I know Ralph loves it. They used to do some of the heat check sims with that game, or I think it was just the March Madness game. But yeah, I my video gaming is 99% sports games. So
Yep.
that
Same.
was a staple in my household. Just Snacky says, quick thoughts on this and what is the most outlandish team? My thought is UCF being 12 with a 7-13 hoops conference record and a 2-7 football conference record last year. Okay, this is not to come after Just Snacky with this because this also just happened with War Chant, one comment earlier. But new rule with comments: if you're sending us a screenshot of something, you need to explain it in the comment ask. Don't ask us a question like thoughts on this, and then we need to explain what the graphic is because that's a horrible listing experience. People aren't looking at the graphic in front of them here. It's a list of the top 50 athletic directors. Do you have this in front of you, and do you have any thoughts?
Bro, we're graded athletic directors.
Yeah, this feels like why are we doing this?
I mean, I love Just Snacky. He usually comes with quality comments, but uh man, your guy Ward is down at 20. Dang, Bubba's at 47. Bubba, you might have to watch your back, Bubba. No, I don't really have any strong feelings about this.
I think this is being asked because Illinois' guy, Josh Whitman, aka my guy, is 37th on the list, which is crazy. He's the best athletic director in the country. But yeah, just a gentle ask going forward to our beloved Discord community. If you're sending a screenshot, please explain it in the question so that it's not a bad listen. Burner says, will Braden Smith achieve greater NBA earnings than Devonte Graham?
No.
41 million is what Devonte Graham has earned in his career. I'm gonna say yes. I think Braden's gonna find a way. Michael Sprizer says, as a relatively new Discord member, really appreciate the hard work and effort you guys put forth on a daily basis. With all the video content, I enjoy when the daily episodes are 50 plus minutes or above in range because I listen to these to help me get through my 6 to 6.5 mile post work runs on days that I'm in the office. I then usually listen to the shorts during the cool down portion of the workout. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Michael. Love you. Also, what a flex. My 6 to 6.5 mile post work runs. When's the last time you ran 6 miles, Riley?
April of 2022 when I ran a 10K. Haven't gotten close to that amount since then.
Do you like running?
Depends. Sometimes, yeah. I don't
I
like to
feel
run by myself.
I feel like a freshly haircutted Riley Davis would be something I'd want to see run.
Maybe I'll have to try it next time I get a haircut.
Maybe just like a beach jog, even like when you're at your
Mhm.
beach house in the summer and you just got
Uh-huh.
a fresh vacation cut, just like, oh, I'm gonna do a light little 4 mile jog this morning.
I do feel a little more inspired to run when I'm at the beach. So we'll be at the beach actually while we do our draft show. I will be live from the beach during the draft show. Let that be clear. But yeah.
So on brand. I love it. We got to incorporate that to the show somehow. Honestly, our whole team is showing their true colors with this draft show. Riley's going to be live from a beach house, but willing to work. Ralph is going to be in an airport on the way to Paris and unavailable to work. I don't know what Dion's doing, but Dion's asked to play like 3 different characters for this show. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be good. We got our first confirmed Draftapalooza guests, by the way. So more to come on those. Malik Perry has the wow. This is a Malik flurry.
The crazy flurry.
One word answer rule has been instituted. Riley, here we go. We've got
Yep.
first off, we want Dion and Carter golf banter. Just because Greg doesn't care about it doesn't mean the sleepers don't.
Great.
Have to give a big shout out to a childhood friend yesterday. He was sworn in as a mayor. I won't say his name. If you pronounce it, just say congratulations. Okay. Texas Tech, I have to give them credit, not for basketball, football, or baseball, but the softball team's pitcher. Let's say her NIL deal is supposed to be the biggest ever. Great job. Happy Riley Friday. How is everyone doing?
Good.
By the way, Fam is not my PR person. He just thinks he is. I won't come after him. What sport event that you've never been to would you like to go to? For me, it might be speedboat racing.
Indy 500.
You want to go to the Indy 500?
I would love to get an Indy 500.
I want to go to a World Series game. How was the birthday, Greg? Hope you had fun. Birthday was great. Thank you, Malik. What's one food, candy, or dessert a lot of people like, but you don't? Butterfingers. Do like them or powdered donuts?
Nutella.
Ooh, good answer. I also don't like Nutella. I don't like pie very much.
Mm. I love pie.
I'd eat like an apple pie, but like other fruit pies, yeah. I would like to see more women's professional sports, softball, football, volleyball leagues. I think they could be entertaining and make a profit. Malik, how inclusive you are. I love that about you. Did you ever get fired, laid off, or quit a job and took something you shouldn't have? I took something I can't say, LOL.
No.
I've been fired or laid off, but I've never taken anything I'm not supposed to. No. This is for Dion. If you never take any advice from me again, go to Asia. You will love it. They have good, unhealthy food. Any weekend plans? End of flurry.
Hiking, baseball.
Hosting the Elliots for 3 nights. I can't wait. All hail the Pope says Happy Riley Friday. Riley, where does Kentucky rank in your top 10? If we aren't fourth or higher, I need to know why because we're making the Final Four.
Ninth. You get ninth and you will like it.
I have you eighth. Once again, we're higher than everybody else, but we get yelled at. Make it make sense. Fam says nothing tougher than Malik telling me over comments I'm no longer his agent. How would you spend 2 weeks of fun employment?
Beach vacation.
I would fast for 2 weeks. All hail the Pope says, Greg, you said Florida's starting five is way better than Kentucky's. Does that roster include Howe at the three? Yes, they have 5 players better than Kentucky's like third best player. There, that backcourt's nasty. The front court's national title good. Who is Kentucky's best defender next year? I think it will be JQ. Evan Mia agrees.
Facts.
All hail the Pope says you have to choose. Are you riding with L's down or Kentucky this year? Part of rivalries. You can't do both. Who are you choosing? End of flurry. Let's be clear. Malik's the only one who can flurry. Riley's throwing the L's out. Louisville. That's your choice.
Yep.
I'll choose Kentucky. Let's make it clear. Nick Culver, I hope you heard me. Sleeve says question for G. DGL over under 10.5 points per game. I think over. I think he found his level and he'll play. Kaysen over under 8.5 points per game. I'll take the over and bet on my guy, but another sharp line by you, Sleeve. And then he had a comment for Carter that we're going to skip since Carter isn't here. The Pat Signal says, Happy Riley Friday. What are some of your favorite college basketball games you have been to outside of the Final Four?
I went to the ACC tournament in 2019 when UNC and Duke played in the semifinal. UNC lost, really close game though, just like two 1 seeds. Zion Williamson team, Kobe White team for UNC was a lot of fun, even though it wasn't the result we wanted.
That's extremely fun. I think my favorite were some of our college hoops to go trips. The ones at Mackey stand out the most to me. Purdue trips where they clinched the regular season title and the confetti fell and we got to be on the court for it. That was pretty cool. Last comment of the day, of the week actually. The Pat Signal says, speaking of Final Fours, what are your favorite memories of your team's last appearance in the Final Four? Greg, do you remember the 2013 national championship? I was 7. Shout out Luke Hancock. Yeah, yeah. Shout out Luke Hancock. I do remember that Final Four. That was my favorite Michigan team ever and will be my favorite team for the remainder of my life. But that wasn't my team's last Final Four. Sorry, Louisville fans, couldn't relate. My memory of Michigan's last Final Four was when Dante DiVincenzo ended me.
I too have seen my team make multiple Final Fours. I just wanted that to be clear. I think you already know my favorite memory of my team's last Final Four.
Riley, what's it like seeing your team win a national championship?
It's pretty sick.
What do you do after it happens?
You ran out on. I ran out on Franklin Street screaming. I have the video to prove it. If you want, I can send it to you. Yelled "Natty Champs" or something like that. People burn couches. Big old mob on Franklin Street. People climb telephone poles and everything. Got a hot dog afterwards. It was great.
The post national championship hot dog sounds special.
Undefeated.
All right. Well, great job, comment section. That was a really good day of comments. Thanks for carrying the show. We're brought to you by NBA 2K Lab, presenting sponsor of all things Sleepers Media in this summer. 2K Labs has a bunch of great mini games for sports fans. We play their GeoGuessr game all the time, but there's a lot of draft-based games as well. They are using our NBA Draft Big Board on their site, NBA2KLab.com. Go check it out. They've got a bunch of content coming for you as well, with College Football 26 coming out next month. Stay tuned for it all. Shout to NBA2KLab.com. Let's get to the show. Topic 1, Riley Friday. What we got today?
We are going to determine our top 10 players, Greg. It's going to be a collaborative effort here. I have done the legwork of coming up with several tiers, and from those tiers, we will pick our top 10. Are you ready?
I love it.
Here we go. All right, the first tier, Surefire locks. It's only two players, but these two have to be on our list of top 10 players for the upcoming season.
Can I guess?
Please do.
Braden Smith, JT Toppin.
Congrats, you got it right. Braden Smith, JT Toppin, I think for sure have to be on the list. Next tier is near locks. We have three guys on this one: Alex Condon, Milos Uzan, Yaxel Lindeborg.
Talk me through Condon. I'm surprised by that.
So Condon to me is like a little bit of respect for the national champ, a little bit of personal bias because he was like my favorite big to watch in the country this past year. The reason why he's a near lock instead of a straight up lock is because I think he averaged what, like 10 points per game last season. And there's a chance that is just who he is like at this level. But there's part of me that thinks like I still think he's the guy in the front court. And maybe with like, as much as I like Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland, I don't think that has as much like scoring prowess or scoring production as the Walter Clayton, Will Richard, Elijah Martin trio, which could lend itself to like more production coming from the front court.
Interesting. Okay. I'm okay buying a Condon breakout. The hard part for me is differentiating between him and Thomas Haw. Um,
Hmm.
they played exact same minutes last year. Condon averaged 1 point more and 1 rebound more, but arguably the same other than that. At the Final Four, I just can't shake it. Condon was horrible.
He was so bad. Yeah. Yeah. We could go with Hauk instead, or like, I don't know, maybe entertain Boogie Fland. I just think Fland has like I buy a Boogie Fland breakout, but I think he has a ways to go to truly be like a no doubt top 10 player in the sport.
Do you think a Florida player has to be in the top 10?
No, I don't.
Because I guess in my head, I haven't really thought of them as the team that would like feature a stud like that. They're more like five very good players. But
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
don't we? So I'm in on the other two without even hesitating, right? Milos and God, why am I blanking on the fourth one?
Yaxel.
Yeah, Axel. Yeah, Jesus, how could I do that? I think those should be on. Let's throw them immediately. I want to
Okay.
table the Florida guys for a second, and I have one name I'm shocked you didn't put into this tier.
Can I get a hint?
Otega.
Okay, he is in my next category, which is another level to ascend. So friend, like maybe you could call them breakouts as well, but like the potential is there, but we want to see it. So that group I have Tahad Pettiford, Otega Owe, Silas Demery, or Solo Ball, take your Yukon guard of choice, Christian Anderson, LeBaron Philon, and Jacoby Gillespie.
And that rounds out the top 10.
These are all potential guys. I have plenty of
Oh.
other options. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay.
Don't you worry.
Got
I came prepared for this one.
All
So
right.
yeah,
What are your thoughts on like I like the way you chunked this up. My initial thought is that we should bump Otega up to the Uzan Lendeborg field where it's just
hmm
like we know what that is. It's a first option. He's going to be featured. He's going to be productive, even if he does take a little leap. But that feels more guaranteed given what he did last year than everybody else in that group.
hmm I want one of Tahad or LeBaron, maybe both.
I am willing to listen to both. I think Tahad should for sure be there.
Okay, then let's go ahead and put Tahad, and then we'll move on to the next category and revisit. So just because the different tiers doesn't mean there's differing levels of talent here. I think all these guys could have a case.
So
So yeah,
right now our list though, just to summarize, we have Braden Smith, JT Toppin, Milos Uzan, Yaxel Lendeborg, Otega Owe, Todd Pettiford. We're six through our top 10.
correct.
That
Yes.
feels good to me.
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
This next tier is fantastic freshmen: AJ DeBonsa, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson.
I have a proposal.
What's
How
your
many more
proposal?
tiers are coming?
There are three but all three have a little bit of silliness mixed in.
Can I hear all the rest of the tiers before we do it? Because in my head, I think all three freshmen belong, but that leaves us one spot left, and there's one specific name I can't believe you haven't said yet.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see if I get to that one. Maybe I just forgot. The next tier after Fantastic Freshman is All American Silly Face. Because it's good players on teams that I don't buy, and maybe it'll make a little
He's
All
gonna
American
the
run.
name I'm after is gonna be in this tier.
PJ Haggerty and Darian Williams.
Ooh, no.
The
No.
name you're after is not there. Okay, maybe I probably didn't have them then. The next tier, I need your help with this one, G. I will introduce it with a musical number. So
Okay.
you put You put it down like New York City.
I don't even know the song you're referencing.
I never sleep wild like Los Angeles. My fantasy hotter than Miami. I feel the heat. Oh, this international love.
Oh, God, I do know the song. Good Lord, Pitbull.
It's international love, baby. For this one, I have Mario Saint Superi from Gonzaga. I have my guy Luka Bogovac. I'm leaving here with something. I'm at least throwing him in the conversation, and I have Mihailo Petrovic. None of those three probably made the list, but I wanted to put them on there anyway. The last tier, Greg. You remember the song Throwback to Views era Drake? I'm still here, dog.
I'm the head dog, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, these are the guys that are still here, and I have TKR and Graham EK.
There it is.
Okay. TKR was the one you were thinking of?
Yeah, on behalf of Purdue fans everywhere, and trust me, I do not like being the guy that has to go to bat for Trey Kaufman-Renn on accolade lists. He averaged 27 and 2 last year on 60% from the floor and will be on a top 2 team in the sport.
I know. I'm just like we already gave them Braden. They don't need a second top 10 player.
20 and 7. I think that's the whole story of Purdue is they have 2 top 10 players. Just for reference, Riley Davis, what did Tyler Hansbrough average for his career at North Carolina?
I'm assuming like 20 and 7.
20 and 8. He's got to be on the list.
All right, we can throw TKR on there.
So here's what I would say. I wanted when we got through the first 6, I wanted TKR and I wanted the 3 freshmen. But as you went through the rest of your names, I liked a few of the names. Some of them are just like Mario St. Super. He's hilarious. Shout out to you for finding a way to get Boga on the list. I know what you're doing. But PJ Haggerty probably belongs here. Like if
That's
PJ Haggerty just does exactly what he did last year, he's on this list, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Kansas State needs to make the tournament to justify it though, because if you're putting up 20 points for like a bad Jerome Tang team, that's not really doing it, you know?
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with disqualifying PJ just because of Kansas State's unseriousness.
Hmm.
But I think like objectively he is a top 10 production guy coming into the year. But if like I wouldn't want to bump Smith, Top, and Uzan, Yaxel, Owe, or Pettiford. So we would have to bump a freshman, I think, because TKR is going
Yeah,
to be on the list too.
right, right.
So I don't know.
Okay,
How do you
so
want to do this?
all right, so I need to read it over. We have Braden Smith, JT Top, and Milos Uzan, Yaxel Lindenberg, Todd Pettiford, Otega Owe, that's 6. TKR gets us to 7. I would say let's take Debonsa, Boozer, and one out of Demery, Anderson, Phylon. And I would probably lean Demery. But what about you?
I would go Haggerty over those guys. I really
Haggerty? Oh,
so here's my issue. I don't think it's at all a given that Demery is UConn's best player, let alone a top
man.
10 player in the sport. I think there's too many, like you mentioned, you could do solo, you could still do Caravan. Like we just don't know who's going to be good there. It's kind of the same thing that we talked through with what was the other team early that we were Florida. It's like very,
Mhm.
very balanced, right? Phylon, I can at least see a breakout case for. I'm just not a Phylon guy like that. Um Boozer, I think, should be here for sure. Peterson, to me, is probably featured. And I guess that leaves me like the question, what about Debansa? Are we sure he's better than Richie Saunders?
Yeah. Do
So
we
I don't know
go?
what to do here. But if we're just defining it as best 10 players, Debansa's here for sure.
Yeah, I feel like Debanza needs to be on it. I'm fine with booting Peterson, to be honest, and doing Haggerty. That feels kind of yucky, but I don't want to like skew too much to freshmen in a sport that's like largely been dominated by old seniors, aside from like Cooper Flag for the past half decade.
Yeah. What was your
So
other name besides Phylon? I didn't get to him. Phylon Demery, who?
Christian Anderson.
I mean, it's the ultimate breakout bet. But then we're giving Purdue and Texas Tech 2 guys here.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just go with Haggerty then.
Haggerty or
Haggerty.
Peterson, your call. Or
Oh,
Phylon, or Phylon.
I like Phylon the best of those three, but
Phylon
all
it
right,
is.
all right, Phylon. Welcome to the top 10.
Braden's, are we putting these in order? Do we have them in
Yeah.
order?
Yeah, this would be my order. I would say Braden, JT Toppin, Milos third, Yaxel fourth, TKR fifth. Oh man, that feels low for Owe. Owe six, Pettiford seven, Debanza eighth, Cambuser ninth, LeBaron Philon 10.
I'm buying Cam Boozer stock in a big way based on that list, but that felt good. Second topic today. What are we doing?
Second topic, we are talking power conference risers. We're going to go through the top five leagues and say which team will make the biggest jump in the standings from last year to this one.
Love it. Love it.
Let's start in the ACC in my territory. I got two
Ooh.
candidates here. I want to see if you're on the same page.
All right, looking at last year's standings, team that jump out to me that I think should be better. You disqualified Duke, Clemson, Louisville immediately because they were all awesome. North Carolina at 4, I do think could take a leap, but only a 1 to 2 spot leap doesn't feel like anything crazy to me. Getting further down the list, Virginia is going to be better than 8 and 12. And that's really the only one, unless you want to convince me of Notre Dame with Jalen Harrelson in the fold.
Yeah, the only ones I really considered were Virginia and Miami. I think Virginia has such a high upside that I think they could finish as high as third in the league. Whereas Miami is like they were just so bad last year, and I think they should be competent this year. I would lean Virginia just because I think they'll actually be good, but I will yield if you want to be the tiebreaker.
Let's go Virginia. I think
Cool.
Virginia's the right answer. Yeah. Okay.
So let's move to your territory in the Big Ten.
It's probably one of the teams with a new coach, would be my guess.
Mhm.
Washington finished last in the league last year. Iowa finished fourth from last. USC was tied with Iowa. So I would think it's one of those three. Everybody else is
Mhm.
going to be in the same realm. Although, shit, Purdue finished tied for fifth, and they're going to finish first.
Ooh, it's yeah, yeah. For what it's worth, I had either USC or Iowa. Um, Iowa feels like the safer pick. I just think like Bennett Sturts really feels like almost as sure of a thing as an up transfer as you can get, just with like the NBA buzz around him and McCollum winning everywhere he's been. And I love the Robert Morris kid as well. It's just like a solid roster. USC has like the most volatility factor, but it's like I don't know, man. I'm a Rodney Rice guy through and through, and that has me wanting to buy the Trojans.
Yeah, I think for the spirit of the exercise, Iowa's the right answer. And
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
like, even if Purdue is like logistically the right answer, Iowa's the team that will go from horrible to something substantial.
I'm with you. We can move on to the Big 12. This one's
Okay.
always the toughest because there's always a lot of good teams. But yeah, anybody in the Big 12 that jumps out to you?
You know, I do think I've been going to bat for the Big 12 as the strongest conference in the sport. But the more I look at it for next year, I do think there are going to be some really bad teams at the bottom again. I think there's
Yeah.
going to be a huge drop off. The only one that jumps out to me that I'm looking to buy from that bottom group is Cincinnati, weirdly enough.
Oh man.
But I'll listen to arguments from you. The only thing that just jumps out to me of like, let's pay attention to Cincy at all is Sean Abayev.
Yeah, I hate it. In the words of Rihanna, I hate her. Wait, hold on, I messed it up. I just hate how much I love this roster. Um, like I like the front court a lot between Baba and Mustafa Thiam, and Sean Abayev as well. But it's just like really hard for me to buy the Wes Miller experience. So I'm going back to another school that's like equally as like tough to buy back in on this on the coach's experience with Kansas State. I would go with one of those two, K State or Cincinnati.
Just Haggerty, buy that he's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, Haggerty. I think Nate Johnson's a fine number two in the backcourt. I like some of their international guys as well.
There's at least some real upside with Kansas State. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with that. That's fine.
All right, let's go K State then. Um, Big East.
Ooh, it was a weird Big East year last year.
It was.
I mean, the top 4 or 5 feel like they're disqualified almost. St. John's,
Yeah.
Creighton, UConn, Marquette, Xavier. So you're looking for somebody down low. Willard didn't do enough with the roster for me to buy a Villanova leap. So we're kind of bargain hunting, and man, like Seton Hall finished last 2-18. Do we think they're going to be okay or no?
This roster stinks, man. Their starting point guard is Bud Clark. Have you
I
ever heard of
hate
Bud
how
Clark?
much we have to be out on Shaheen. It
I know,
sucks.
man. It does suck. I said Georgetown. I don't feel great about it, but they at least have talent.
I just feel like I fell for the Georgetown shit last year, but that's probably the right answer.
Like they're the only one of these bottom feeders that have like blue chippers, like KJ Lewis and Langston Love, who was a Montverde 5-star once upon a time.
Yeah, Deshaun Harris Smith.
Uh-huh. Julius Halifanoa, NBA Academy star. Yeah, they at least have talent.
I'd like to change my answer to DePaul.
Approved.
Okay. SEC is the last one, I believe.
Yeah, SEC is the last one. I hate my answer for this one, but I
Oh,
gotta give respect to this roster. There's some hoopers on it.
there's going to be so much movement here. What's your answer?
I said Oklahoma. I love Xavier Brown. I'm not really a Nigel Pack guy, but when he doesn't have to be the guy, he could be better. And I kind of buy Darion Reed breakout.
Yeah, I do think Oklahoma's done some good things. I think there's a couple middle of the pack teams I'm interested in here too. I think Ole Miss and Arkansas, both being like teams that finished eighth and 10th in the SEC last year, could just finish like top four and kind of
Yeah.
rewrite things. So I think my answer would be Arkansas for that reason, but I like the Oklahoma answer too.
Yeah, the Arkansas, my only hesitation with them is just like the Cal experience just hasn't been good in a while. And I'm not sold on Acuff as like anything more than a ball dominant guard who I don't know if he can actually elevate the team around him.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I
Yeah.
like Carter Knox and I love Malik Ewan, but I don't know if like I just am very curious to see how this marriage of Darius Acuff and like someone who had the ball in his hands a lot at Florida State and Malik Ewan and someone who's expecting to come back and boost his stock and Carter Knox, like how does Cal sort of massage all the egos here and can it translate to a good product on the court?
Totally fair questions. Totally fair.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, which one do you want to go with? You said Arkansas.
I bend the
Who?
knee to you for Oklahoma.
Okay, let's go Oklahoma then.
Third and final topic today is one that you tipped me off ahead of time to, which is rare for O'Reilly Friday. What is it?
Yes, I want to do an early look at UNC versus Duke. And okay, do you think of me as like am I like a reasonably rational UNC fan?
Relative to UNC fans that I've encountered, yes.
Do you think I'm able to like take off the blinders and unbiased, like evaluate my team without bias?
No, I
On
don't.
a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being like I always have the Carolina blue tinted glasses on, where do I rank in my bias?
Low, very low.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think I think even when you are trying to be objective, you take the optimistic approach because you are an optimist at heart.
It's true.
It's one of the
I am
things I love
confident.
about you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That will reflect in this exercise where I've been trying to like see how UNC stacks up positionally with Duke, and I feel better about it than I thought I would. Like for the record, I have Duke ranked fifth in my preseason rankings right now, so I don't need any Duke lovers coming out of the woodwork saying that I'm biased or accusing me of even more bias than I already know that I have. But I at least wanted to throw this you're not really objective. You aligned yourself with the brotherhood. So, but but let's go through the lineups here and tell me like who has the advantage and how much so. Um, so I'm going off of projected starting lineups here. At the one, Kyan Evans versus Caleb Foster.
This is the one I feel the least confident in. I don't think there's a sizable advantage either way, is what I would say.
I am good to say that one's a push.
Okay.
At the two, Seth Trimble or Isaiah Evans.
Man. This is talking me into Carolina because I'm not like immediately picking the Duke guy. Um, I God, that's tough.
That's exactly how I felt looking at it. Like Seth had they're both good players with shortcomings. Seth, I think his shot selection and his vision and his jumper were all questionable last year. Isaiah Evans loved the upside, but I'm afraid that when he's not like the sixth option who's allowed to just come in and be a gunner, that there's going to be some cracks that come to light in his game instead of this breakout that Duke fans hope.
Are you going to talk me into Trimble being the right answer?
I think it's closer to a push with maybe a slight advantage to Isaiah Evans.
Let's go push. I am like as high as you can be on Isaiah Evans, I think. I just feel like he played 13 minutes a game and was the most efficient shooter in the country. If Con Knipple didn't exist, we're looking at him completely differently here. Um, but at the same time, Trimble's been like the third to fourth guard and been productive. So
Hmm.
if you imagine him being a first option guard, it totally changes. I'm fine calling it a push, but yeah, I don't know how to interpret that one. I think I'd probably take Trimble.
Look at that. I need Carolina fans to hear that because there are Carolina fans who just think sleepers is all negative UNC. When I hear so many UNC fans who just don't believe in Seth Trimble for whatever reason, I think he's a hooper. Anyway, at the three, Luka Bogovac versus Dame Sar.
This is where it starts to get ugly because I think Trimble's the best player on Carolina, and I think
Wow.
Carolina fans view Trimble as awful. So that's a hard thing to square. I would take Dame Sar pretty quickly over Boga.
I'm taking Boga, but I acknowledge that's where I acknowledge the bias. At the four, we have Caleb Wilson versus Cameron Boozer. I think we're both in alignment. We'll give the nod to Boozer there.
The easiest one thus far. Because
Yeah.
I think you and I being split on Sar Boga means we probably could have called it a push and been fine. Like their reasonable minds could differ on Sar versus Boga.
Hmm. But I think, yeah, Cam, I think, has a clear advantage there. At the five, Henry Vasar versus Pat Ngongba.
I guess we'll do Vesar, right?
I would go with Vasar. I think Ngongba has a ton of upside though, to where it wouldn't surprise me if it's like closer to even than I think Carolina fans want to admit right now. But I'm a big believer of what I've seen from Vasar. Now, where it gets like where you see why Duke is a lock to be a top five team comes when you go to the bench. Because here we start comparing Jonathan Powell and Jaron Stevenson and like Derek Dixon that to Caden Boozer, Nick Hamania, Darren Harris, and Malik Brown. Um, I think the only thing you could point to Carolina is like what Darren Harris is supposed to be. Jonathan Powell already kind of did last year, but I just think that that quartet coming off the bench, I'm a huge believer in Nick Hamania. I think Caden Boozer should eventually be able to beat out Caleb Foster for the starting spot at the one. And I've liked Darren Harris since his like Peach Jam days as well. Like I think Duke's bench is really freaking good, and Carolina's is more so like Powell should translate as a shooter. Jaron Stevenson is still like the upside guy who's been on good teams, but you want to see him put it together. And after that, it's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, like as respectfully as we can here, there's not a humongous difference between Nick Kamania and Caleb Wilson.
That part I'll push back a little bit on. I think Wilson's athleticism and the defense will give him a higher floor. Like, as much as I love Hamania, I think some of the athleticism concerns could limit him. But I think Hamania's offensive bag is like crazy. He's definitely more advanced on offense than
I mean,
Wilson
they're
is.
they're totally different players stylistically, but we're talking a
Yeah,
six spot recruiting ranking between North Carolina's most talented player and Duke's seventh guy.
it's a good point. Fair point. But
But I mean, you went through the starting lineup. I see what we're after here. So what's our scoreboard at here?
so let's see. We both agreed push for the one and the push at the one, push at the two, split for Boga versus Sar, advantage to Duke for Cam Boozer over Wilson, advantage to UNC for Vasar, advantage to Duke for the bench.
So really, we're saying bench is the only difference.
Yeah.
No, because as much as I love the positional game, Cam Boozer is 150 spots higher on national player rankings list than the best North Carolina player.
I would take those numbers that there's not that big of a gap between Cam Boozer and the best UNC player, but we'll see.
We shall see. I'm glad North Carolina fans feel really good about their $14 million roster, though. I like it. One big thing presented by another beautiful episode of Riley Friday. Riley, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I teased this in the comments when someone asked what I have going on this weekend. I got to give a shout out to the Diamond Heels who play in the Super Regionals against Arizona starting on Friday. Greg, I know you've been tapping into your baseball love this summer with the Tigers. That is how I feel during the month of May, now into June, when UNC is doing well in baseball. I love firing up the grill, throwing up something on the grill with the baseball game on in the background, and locking in and watching like the fourth through the ninth innings over dinner. Can't beat it. It's fun to watch your team dominate a postseason game. Need my Heels to get back to Omaha this year.
Yeah, I'm rooting for your Heels specifically for you every time. And also, great uniforms. The baby blue really pops in on the baseball heels. What do you call them? The diamond heels?
Yeah, the Diamond Heels.
That's kind of nice. I like that. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck to your Heels. What's the next game? What status are we at?
So it's the Super Regionals play Arizona. By the time the game will probably start by the time people hear this. It's a 12 p.m. tip. Excuse me, 12 p.m. first tip.
Mm,
12 p.m. first pitch. I'm struggling here.
I'm gonna lock in for this. By the way, I feel like if you ever threw a first pitch at a baseball game, it would be revealed that you can't throw. Is that a real read?
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and share your one big thing, G?
It's a good read. My one big thing, you mentioned grill. I've been back on the Blackstone. Crazy new episode yesterday. Meatball subs. Original recipe, Riley. Originality with this. I'm feeling myself. I'm in my bag. I went to the local Harding. Shout out to Harding's been a huge staple for me. Bought a little fresh baked in the bakery that day bread, little Italian hoagie type, and basically whipped up some homemade meatballs. Got the ground beef, and then did my own little recipe with some spices and flavorings mixed in. And then big fresh mozzarella cut, diced my own way into these long little patches that fit the size of the bread, threw it right on the grill, flipped it. It was like this, almost like a Gouda feel to the cheese on top. I got a 10 out of 10 from those in attendance yesterday. But I now have, for those counting at home, 7 recipes on the Blackstone right now, and we're cooking.
That Sleepers cookbook is gonna go crazy when we publish it.
Honestly, I'm the big test. I'm cooking for Cart this weekend, and his wife is vegan. So we'll see if I somehow botch this.